Yeah. The American people don't know what's going on in this country. The enemy's calling. The country is going to hell. The enemy's calling. It ain't black people sending it there. There is no mystery God. Absolutely no mystery God.
You are the future, and we are depending on you to unite to overcome your differences and organize a system under the set of principles that the original people of this planet follow.
The enemy's conflict.
Get your copy of Fire. It's definitely a must-read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
I don't know how I got here. I just know I'm never going back. Just when I thought things were already crazy, it gets worse.
I'm back.
Quan?
Sapphire struggles to deal with her husband's alleged betrayal and coming to terms with Quan being alive after thinking he was deceased. Devante tries to keep a level head while dealing with family issues and unexpected disloyalty. Memories of Dre enters Devante's life in a way that he would have never imagined.
Fire Part 2, the finale.
Peace. This is The Enemy's Public, and I am Bro.Nasir. If you don't have your copy of Fire, go to Amazon, Angela King James, get your copy of Fire. And get your copy of Fire 2, the finale, Amazon. You can get it on paperback or you can get it on Kindle. But get your copies of my wife's book, Fire. It's a good read. I guarantee it. Go to Amazon and get yourself a copy. You won't be disappointed. This evening, I want to cover Posse, Comitatus versus Tyranny. But before I get started, I want to play some music selections. As a matter of fact, I'm going to cover it a little bit before I start playing the music selection because some things that I want to say before I go into the video presentation about Posse Comitatus versus Tyranny. Now, I understand that there's a peace agreement with Israel and the Palestinians. Now, my question is, with this peace agreement, will Israel honor and keep the agreement? Will Israel keep the peace? Based on the behavior of Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm almost certain that they won't. Based on his behavior, I'm almost certain that Israel won't keep the agreement. Donald Trump, once again, is attempting to take the credit, which is why I'm skeptical about the entire so-called agreement. Because how in the hell is a man who have declared war on the people in the country where he's president establishing peace elsewhere? Two liars, two manipulators, two warmongering thieves are going to establish peace. Now, just watch what happens when all the so-called hostages are released. We'll see what happens then. Because when someone has proven themselves to be who they are, you trust that they will be who they are. When someone has lied for over 30 years about the same thing, why would he all of a sudden stop lying? Why one who was a warmonger and madman for his entire duration of his tenure as the prime minister of Israel, why should he be trusted with a peace agreement when he lied about the conflict and how it got started in the first place? Now, Donald Trump, another liar, has lied and are lying for the reason to put military troops in U.S. cities. He wants to use U.S. cities as training grounds for the military. See, the optics are a psychological operation. Also, normalizing the military being in the cities of the United States. We need to be mindful and watchful. Some of my people are consumed yet celebratory about what's going on with immigrants while not paying attention what's happening to us before our very eyes. Back before most of the smart among us were born, my brothers and I used to have conversations about why they're making the city streets and the highways wider. That reason was and is to allow tanks to get through to access the cities, which is a violation of Posse Comitatus for military troops to be policing the cities. The Posse Comitatus Act is a law that Congress passed making it illegal to use the military for civilian law enforcement. The act has deep roots in American tradition going back to the founding of the country. The Posse Comitatus Act is a United States federal law signed on June 18, 1878 by President Rutherford B. Hayes that limits the use of federal military personnel to enforce domestic law by federal government or by other government entities. It's illegal for them to do that. Illegal. The man who holds the highest office of the executive branch of the United States in 9 months has violated almost every federal law known to man. Almost every federal law, local, state, and federal. He's violated the laws. This cracker, Donald Trump, is wicked, vindictive, and childish. He's like a child throwing a tantrum when he don't get his way. That's his behavior. Now, a cracker is not a cracker because of the color of his skin. A cracker is a behavior and an ideology, thinking that there's a place for other people in the society. And if that person gets out of place, he feels that he has the ability to put that person in their place with resources and so-called perceived power. In their sentiment, their place is beneath them. Now, the chief convict has vowed to indict every person who has done their job to bring him to justice. He wants his political opponents in prison just for being his opponents, opposing him. He don't care that he's lawless. He wants to be an emperor, a tyrant. He likes the optics. So much that he'll create it, even if he created sloppily. He likes the optics. And our people need to understand what he's doing. He wants to cause so much conflict in the U.S. cities. And watch how he upped the ante when it's time for another election. Because if it's so much unrest in the cities in the United States, it halts the election, because you can't have an election when there's so much chaos going on in the country. And that's what he's attempting to do. Now, before I get into the video presentation, I'm going to have a few music selections to get into what today's subject matter is. Let me share my screen. Matter of fact, let me turn this off first, then share my screen. But we have to be mindful. And we shouldn't let it be normal to us that military troops are in our cities. That should not be something normal. These guys are being very mischievous in the cities. They are escalating situations. They are creating situations. And we need to be mindful of what's going on. Let us not be so consumed and so celebratory to what's going on with the immigrants that we don't recognize and see what's happening to us. And we need to watch what's going on abroad, because it will be at our doorsteps before we know it. And also, what a nation doesn't condemn, they condone, which means they'll do it themselves. If a nation can sit idly by and watch genocide and watch crimes against humanity go on in another city or in another state or in another nation, that means they'll do it too. If they can watch that, they'll do it too. When tanks were being rolled over students in Beijing back in I believe it was 1989 or 1990, the United States didn't say a word about that. Not one word about that. That gave me the inclination that they would do that too. Peace to Goddess D of Love, the Serpent God, King Morpheus, I'm sorry. Peace, brother and sister. Thank you for tapping in. Thank all those who are tapping in. Hit the like button on your way in, please. I appreciate it. But whatever a government doesn't condemn when they see crimes against humanity, we got to be watchful and mindful about what they'll do. Now, this happened over 30 years ago, and they didn't say how atrocious that was when those students were being shot and those students were being ran over by tanks in Beijing. That wasn't terrible to the United States. As a matter of fact, the chief of thieves, Donald Trump, asked his defense secretary, can protesters be shot in the leg? He wants to at least shoot protesters in the leg. He wants to run the United States in a tyrannical manner. He wants to create so much chaos that he's the last president. See me, I don't care about this nation falling because it hasn't justified its existence. So I don't care about the nation falling, but I do care about what happened to the people. I do care about that. But this place as an establishment, it hasn't justified its existence. So who am I if the creator decide that this nation has been weighed in the balance and found wanting? So it hasn't justified its existence, so it has to be removed from the face of the earth. I'm not going to get in the way with that. But what I'm telling my people is, let us be mindful of what's going on around us or abroad. We got to be mindful of what's going on abroad. Because when people know their end is coming, they act in desperation and they'll do things out of desperation, and they can become very dangerous, very dangerous. But I'm going to get into these musical selections, and then we're going to get into the subject matter. Let me share my screen. We're going to start off with the Camaraderie Anthem, both of them.
Yeah, yeah. Whoa. Hands up in the air, unified and bold. Shoulders locked tight, stories untold. This is the camaraderie, the brotherhood flow. We all stand in that for the people we know.
Field Marshal Bro.Nasir, never back down. Talk your talk media, word spreads around town. Big dog, Philly OG, wisdom in his bark. Big aboriginal power, lighting up the dark. Key Norfolk on the line, speaking truth through the static. Open the knowledge, mind sharp, automatic. Sure the realest with that unbreakable stance. Bro Sanchez bringing light, giving minds a chance. Dangerous music, Drake Cobbs on the sound. DJ Cuddy spins it, our anthem hits the ground. T wriggles, Dulcinea, voices join the crowd. Smoke signal in the air, make the ancestors proud.
We all stand, we all rise. Act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher. We lift each other higher.
Supreme Chief Holiday, guiding with honor. Voodoo Child, channel spirit, the feeling is stronger, no one left behind. Every name is a torch, lighting freedom's path. As we move off the porch, every voice different, but the heart's the same. We paint our own future, signing with our names. Forged by the struggle, united by the fight. One dream, one people, together in the light.
We all stand, we all rise. Act for our people, open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy, forged in the fire. This is camaraderie, we lift each other higher.
Yeah.
Hands clasped in a circle. Ancestors hear the call.
Yeah.
Past, present, future.
Whoa.
Together we won't fall. From the roots in the soil to the stars in the sky. Voices echo strong, let the unity fly. We all stand, we all rise. Act for our people. Open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy. Forged in the fire. This is camaraderie. We lift each other higher. We lift each other higher. We all rise. Act for our people. Open up our eyes. Linked by our legacy. Forged in the fire. This is camaraderie. We lift each other higher.
Yeah.
This is for the people. Our movement, our pride. This is camaraderie. We stand side by side.
Next, we're going to get into the remix.
Triple one vision. With the one vision. With the one vision. One vision, see the facts through the schism. Unlock the algorithm trapped in this lyrical prism. I search for the truth in the rhythm and the rhyme. Planting the seed of reason in the garden of time. They follow the leader, I follow the signs. Connecting the dots between all the broken lines. My dialect's a scalpel, precise with the incision. Making the final cut, the ultimate decision.
One sound, one mic, one crew, that's the bond. From the misty dawn till the day is gone, this is camaraderie. The remix you hear now, we take a collective bow, we hold the ground somehow. One voice, one choice, we make the vision clear. The whole squad's here, conquering the fear. This is camaraderie, the power in the name. Burning like a holy flame forever in the game.
They call me Mama Chief. I bring the ground in relief, turn a new leaf, putting into all the grief. My roots run deeper than 1,000-year-old oak. Every word I've ever spoke is fire from the smoke. Got the wisdom of the matriarch, the strength of the stone, protecting my own on this hip-hop throne. Empress Namaste, couldn't say it any better. We stitch it all together, stronger than weather leather.
One sound, one mic, one crew, that's the bond. From the misty dawn till the day is gone, this is camaraderie. A remix you hear now, we take a collective bow, we hold the crown somehow. One voice, one choice, we make the vision clear. The whole squad's here, conquering the fear. This is camaraderie, the power in the name. Burning like a holy flame forever in the game.
Yeah. Smell like a foxy shining by the moon, dropping a Looney Tune that makes the speakers swoon. My flow was lit with silver, my aura's a gold sheen. The slickest you've ever heard, the illest you've ever seen. Shank rock with the beat, I glide on the surface, serving my purpose, making competitors nervous. Ends Parker knows the session, it's none your business. See, just the art, the mic, the beat, and the whole team with me.
It's the ciphers, decoding the matrix of the beat. Then kill switch flips, bringing indestructible heat. From Marco Power's force to the bronze god's decree. The Navi poet charged the course for all the world to see. Executive sessions, yeah, the motion is past. The legacy that's built to last, the shadow that we cast.
Yeah, the camaraderie. One vision. Mama Chief, Looney Tune, Empress Namaste, Posse Moon, Chris Cypher, Marco Power, Ron's Flat Power Guard, Executive Sessions, Kill Switch, Shank Rock, MS Park, Known Your Business, Navi Poet, we all here.
Now we're going to get to some Dre Cobbs. We're going to get to some Dre Cobbs music.
This that Nickelodeon, Mary Jane and Opium, fresh from the FedEx chest, we got a load of them. Yeah, tear the shit down like depression. The moral of the story is you get the lesson. I'm colder than the weather in Nova Scotia. The flow is colder, turn down. You just like the lame dude. Get the shoulder, have these niggas swinging that Chris Rock when I pitch a boulder. My intentions was ill will. You cry. When I rap, get a pill feel. I can meditate and stay connected to the earth like a mill drill. They taught you to lie to your kids with Santa. I verse in the AI now and got the answer. Don't kill yourself trying to be me with the Tanner. My eagle love getting blown like a blammer. I'm biased to the low comprehension, cause people claim both to get a mention. You cry. And we don't want to hear that. Keep that over there. Gotta do
We don't want to hear that.
That's if you knew better.
Shout out to my brother Chris Cypher.
But I don't want to bore y'all with the talk.
Dangerous
like
music.
Regular schedule,
Dre Cobbs.
executive sessions. Welcome to the upper echelon of Megatrons. And it's dangerous. Laugh now, cry later. Can that fly shit you talk manifest when you falling from a skyscraper? A headshot could be a mind changer. I'm just a nigga that could hustle the hustle, getting my side paper. You know it's over when the nine spray ya. Oh, we robbing everything that you got. We operate as personality, just like your chain. It got faker, but the bullets like the ice in your drink. They shot chasers, too much talking. You going in places these cops take us. Prison is a mental design for time chambers. Procrastination is a disease for time takers. When it's war, they can never be law for line makers. Suck your head, be stupid and cross and die. Player got the full fifth, waving you down like hi hater. When your soul leave earth, you could let the sky take it, cause you thought shit was sweet. Laugh now, cry later.
Man, y'all know what it is, man. It's getting scary for you niggas out here, man. Know y'all feeling the pressure. This network shit, this shit real, man. Ain't nothing but real shit over here, nigga. Chris Cyphers just gave y'all a dome shot. Dangerous just put you niggas in a body bag. And now I'm about to bury you niggas, man. Yo, I'm back riding again. Dangerous and Cyphers, we gon' have to body him then. Yeah, these niggas done. We gon' have your whole crew on the run. This ain't a game. You niggas lame. Come and catch this flame. We ain't built the same. You niggas just like the cap of fame. The 40 will make your soul glow. Silencer on the end of the barrel where the smoke blow. I need a heat check. Lily from the logo. Smoke is out. You can smell my mojo. Fucking with Drake Cobbs, that's a no-no. This that victory. Boss Brown and D-Wade. Looking to let the heat spray. We pull up to your block like it's D-Day. We ain't playing, nigga, this ain't EA. We like wolves when the nigga see prey, and move like Neo when the nigga see strays. I type to kill the competition. Chuck the deuces, nigga, on the replay. Big cheater, moving past you, nigga. I chuck the deuces on the replay. But y'all know what it is, man. Chris Cyphers, Dangerous, Drake Cobbs, man. This network shit ain't nothing but real shit over here, man. Nothing but real. You already know. Y'all knowing how we get down, Joe. Network, nigga. Network forever, nigga.
Next, we're going to get to some DEP music featuring Satan's antagonist, red, white, and blue facade, riding to the core. This is the order of the day of the United States. This song you're about to hear. This is what they're all about.
Yeah, they do the dirt with you just to get the dirt on you. Yeah, flip the script, now the whole damn world is scorning. Yeah, send the troops out, call them peacekeepers, it's a lotto. Economic hitmen dressed in camo, watch the sky glow from the missiles that we sold to both the sides in conflict. Profiteering from the fear of manufactured construct. They make a mockery of votes, a democratic pageant. While the real strings get pulled inside a gilded cabinet. Israel manipulates a narrative we're fed. Another proxy war, count the bodies of the dead. Yeah, red, white, and blue facade, just a hollow shell, a nationwide fraud. They play us for the food, backs against the wall. This ain't a system, it's a free-for-all. Rotten to the core, can't you see the fall? Yeah, yeah, rotten to the core, for one and for all. Look at the circus leader tweeting nonsense from his throne. An incompetent disgrace seeds up your chaos zone. Calling capable people Diala, twisted hateful slur. Replaces them with puppets, now the lines are all a blur. Like Cash Patel for the bureau now, ain't that a scene? A yes man for a tyrant, what's that really gonna mean? Can't answer simple questions, just a liar with a grin. A sycophant in power, where does the truth even begin? And BB's just a demon, cares for nothing but his game. While his people and the others burn engulfed in holy flame. Yeah, red, white, and blue facade, just a hollow shell, a nationwide fraud. They play us for the food, backs against the wall. This ain't a system, it's a free-for-all. Rotten to the can't you see the yeah, yeah. Rotten to the for one and for all. They divide us by our color, by the God that we believe. So we're fighting one another for the scraps that we receive. We stare up at the symptoms, but the sickness is the state. Got us trapped inside the anger, sealing our own damn fate. This ain't left versus right, it's the bottom against the top. And the beat of the war drum is never gonna stop. Riding to the from the highest to the forgotten. A free for all, just watch it fall. Riding to the
Now we're going to get into the subject matter. Posse Comitatus versus Tyranny.
Confrontations are rising between demonstrators and Illinois State Police here throughout the day outside of the ICE Detention Center in Broadview. This comes as the White House says President Trump has authorized the Illinois National Guard to be deployed here after an ultimatum was given to Governor J.B. Pritzker.
And I am here for my students and their families.
A crowd of anti-ICE demonstrators cheer on at least 4 people we saw detained by Illinois State Police as they were walked into a Cook County Sheriff's Office van in handcuffs. We blurred their faces since it's unclear if they will be charged.
Move back!
They were taken down as troopers were clearing the street outside the ICE Detention Center in Broadview.
Go to the protest area!
Backing protesters into designated zones, feet from the immigration building and surrounded by concrete barriers. Federal agents on the other side of the fence with their flying drone above it all.
I'm not here to deal with the state police. I'm here to deal with the kidnapping that ICE is doing. And it's immensely disappointing that the state police are putting themselves between us and ICE.
Tensions continued throughout the night between state police and demonstrators. This comes as the White House is confirming National Guardsmen will be federalized in Illinois. The White House saying in a statement, quote, amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness.
He said, amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness that local leaders like Pritzker have refused to step into quell. Now, these riots, first, they're not violent. And if anybody are getting violent, it's the authorities. Yet, their presence is causing the lawlessness and the conflict, them being there. Now, excuse me, I understand Chicago has its problems. They do have its problems, but you're not going to tell us that you're going to overreach your authority over the governor to send the National Guard into Chicago or any other state. Now, Donald Trump don't give a damn about our people dying and killing each other. So that's one thing about Chicago that I know about. He don't care if we die or killing each other. No, he likes the optics, how this look abroad, to seem like he's some type of dictator, king, or emperor, because he wants to be just like South Korea. He wants to be that leader like South Korea or like Japan or like anywhere else who will be deemed a tyrannical governor or leader. He loves how it looks, even if it's done sloppy, even if it's done unlawful. He loves the way it looks. You saw the parade that he tried to do on his birthday, intertwining his birthday with the 250th anniversary of the military. And he wanted them to march down the street celebratory for his birthday, and it didn't turn out right because his motives were impugned.
That local leaders like Pritzker have refused to step in to quell. President Trump has authorized 300 National Guardsmen and assets. President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness plaguing American cities.
Now, it's more lawlessness being done by government officials, in particular him, and those who are his constituency, and himself. They're more lawless than anybody who they were charged with being lawless. They're covering up crimes or committing crimes. And you got the head of the FBI who doesn't have a clue about what's going on. He don't even know case law. He don't even know. He didn't even know who Dylan Roof was. And he's the head. He's the FBI director. He didn't know who Dylan Roof was.
Decision coming after Governor J.B. Pritzker said in a statement earlier, quote, "The Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will."
It's a continuing overreach by the
He gave him what? Listen to this wordplay. Listen to this wordplay.
It's a continuing overreach by the president. I mean, the government.
Let me go back a little bit.
Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your.
The Trump administration's Department of War gave me an ultimatum. Call up your troops or we will. See, this is a president overreaching his authority, calling a governor of a state, giving him an ultimatum to call up your troops and put your National Guard in your cities, or I will. There's an overreach of authority. Department of War, which means that Donald Trump, the president of the United States, have declared war on the people of the United States. He said that we are the enemy.
Your troops or we will.
It's a continuing overreach by the president. I mean, the governor is responsible for calling up the troops
Exactly.
when they think it's necessary.
That warning came the same day a federal judge temporarily blocked President Trump's attempt to deploy the Oregon National Guard to Portland for at least 14 days. Oregon's governor saying in a statement in part, quote, "Justice has been served and the truth has prevailed."
So we're seeing this opinion out of Oregon. It applies to Oregon. That means it's not binding here in Illinois. But and
that's the crazy thing. He would take another, because the governor is in charge of the state's National Guard. But Donald Trump would federalize the National Guard from another state and send the National Guard from one state to another just to get his way. If he don't get his way, he throws a tantrum and he becomes very vindictive, like a damn spoiled, rotten child. That's his mentality as a damn near 80-year-old man, just to get his way.
the arguments that were made there, we're almost certainly going to be seeing made here by the city or by the state.
The concern over a deployment of Illinois National Guard members prompting an emergency motion filed by Broadview leaders today. The village is seeking the removal of the fence erected by federal authorities around the ICE facility amid ongoing demonstrations. The village calling the fence illegal and a safety hazard, asking for a judge to grant the motion pending a Tuesday hearing on the village's lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security.
Meantime, DHS is responding to that motion filed with its own court filing, saying there's no need for a hearing before Tuesday, bringing up the possibility of a settlement on Monday.
All of this is insane by an insane man who need to be in a rocking chair somewhere instead of trying to run a government. He's too
Hundreds of National Guard troops are soon to deploy to Chicago. This on a mission that the Trump administration says is meant to protect federal officers and their facilities in the city. Some troops are already guarding an ICE procession facility just outside of the city. And it was on Monday that Chicago and state of Illinois.
Again, this is against the Posse Comitatus Act. The federal government or the National Guard troops, military, are not supposed to be policing American cities. National Guard is for the borders and wherever else they send them, but they don't belong in the cities. You got local and state officers and even federal officers. If there's a National Guard that's going to come to a city, it has to be sanctioned by and at the discretion of the governor. But all of this is actually against the law. But we don't have, law and order is not the order of the day. He said he wants to be the law and order president, but he's breaking every law in the damn Constitution.
They then sued the Trump administration, trying to stop what they call an unlawful deployment. A federal judge declined to immediately block that deployment, but scheduled arguments for this case on Thursday. Fox's Asher Red is live there in Chicago. Asher, we also know that the FBI is just one of those agencies saying that they could use the help.
Well, Christina, I was with FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche earlier today.
Kash Patel he's a sock puppet and a string puppet. He's going to toe the line. He's going to do whatever Donald Trump tells him to do because he's just happy to have a damn job. Kash Patel he's unqualified. He don't even know what he's doing. And he's a liar, outright liar. He won't show us and expose the Epstein tapes. And he'll lie right in Congress' face, being contempt of Congress every time he go before them.
And both of them explained exactly why they think that federal agents here in Chicago need National Guard protection. Patel and the deputy AG toured the FBI Chicago field office today. The visit comes as the Justice Department says agents are facing increased threats of violence and attacks here in the city. One of those cases involved an alleged murder for hire plot against a Border Patrol commander. Prosecutors say a Chicago gang leader shared Snapchat messages offering $2K for info on the commander's whereabouts and, quote, $10K if you can take him down. Separately, the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information on 2 vehicle ramming attacks on federal agents in Chicago over the weekend.
I mean, at this point, it's almost laughable.
Now, these federal agents are doing criminal acts themselves, shooting reverends in the head with pepper balls, putting pepper grenades in a costume in the area where knowing the man can't take the head of the costume off, like the mascot costume, putting it inside of that, and the man it's a process to take all of that off. And they could have killed that man just by doing that. This is the things that they're doing.
Laughable that the state government is standing up and saying, don't let the National Guard in. I mean, they have access to the same TV that I have access to. And of course we need the National Guard.
Some of the anti-ICE protests in this area, including at an ICE processing facility at nearby Broadview, Illinois, have turned violent. The mayor of Broadview has now set a specific protest hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. around the facility, and she's imposed a curfew. Meanwhile, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is dialing up the rhetoric against the Trump administration, calling the federal agents thugs and vowing to not back down.
Federal agents have been openly carrying assault rifles downtown, racially profiling people, and based on that, demanding proof of citizenship and snatching people up in our neighborhoods without a judicial warrant. Donald Trump's deranged depiction of Chicago as a hellhole, a war zone, and the worst and most dangerous city in the world was just complete BS.
And the judge is giving the Trump administration until 11:59 tomorrow night to respond to this lawsuit. Chicago, the state of Illinois, and the Trump administration will be in court on Thursday over this. Christina?
So much still to follow there. We appreciate Fox's Asher Red for giving us the very latest from live there in Chicago. And so
Donald Trump wants this confrontation, this lawlessness. This is what he wants. Because it looks good to him. He wants to look like a tyrant. He wants to look like an emperor, a lawless. It's just his nature. That's what he wants. And he's going to put people in position that will toe the line. If you are someone who's going to go by the law and not just do what he tell you, he's going to replace you, regardless of who it is. If he can replace you, he's going to replace you.
So, of course, as we're continuing on with the story.
The National Guards, they have assembled in the Chicago area, in Chicago and in the surrounding areas.
As far as what we are hearing, the National Guard, first of all, it's illegal, unconstitutional, it's dangerous, it's wrong. This is not about deportation. This is not about safety for this president. This is about authoritarianism. It's about stoking fear. It's about breaking the Constitution that would give him that much more control over our American cities.
And it's also about normalizing this behavior. And he wants to see just how far he can go with his tyranny. He's going to test everything to see what he can do. If it's allowed, he's going to continue it. What they should do is arrest his ass. Donald Trump needs to be arrested, if anything. He needs to be arrested. But this is why I don't like politicians on any level, because if a government official, even a president, if he commits a crime, he's found guilty, he should do time like everybody else. Because for you to be the president, it's like law enforcement. When they are tried and convicted of a crime, they should be punished more severely. Because why? Because they are violating the trust of the people, and they at least supposed to know the law. They are of the law. So when you violate the law as law enforcement, you should be punished more severely than any civilian, because they'll tell us that ignorance of the law is no excuse. They'll tell us this if we don't know the law. But if they don't know the law, if they're oblivious to their job, they get qualified immunity. What kind of sense do that make? This man was convicted of 34 felonies. And when he went to get sentenced, the judge postponed his sentence 4 years so he can be president, when he should have been disqualified when he was convicted. One of us get convicted of a crime, we can't even work in certain places, but this man can have the highest office of the executive branch as a goddamn criminal.
Hi again, everyone. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. More escalations to report in the standoff between our commander-in-chief and American cities he doesn't like. Today, as leaders like the one you just heard, Chicago's mayor, call out Trump's desires to deploy federal troops to the streets of cities run by Democratic elected officials, as Trump in the Oval Office yet again raised the prospect of invoking the Insurrection Act. Today, notable not just for the growing clash of rhetoric, but of troops actually appearing on the ground. The Texas National Guard has arrived in Chicago. The Chicago Tribune reports that its journalists, quote, saw several military.
He has National Guard from Texas, National Guard from other states, because the governor of Illinois refused to deploy his. Because Donald Trump is not in charge of state National Guards. That's at the discretion of the governor. He knows this, so he would federalize National Guard from other states and deploy them to Chicago or wherever he wants them to go. This man is like a child. He throws a tantrum when he don't get his way. It's like a child.
Military members dressed in camouflage and carrying long guns on federal property in the far southwest suburbs Tuesday morning. Soldiers who had T patches on their arms identical to the one shown in a picture tweeted by Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Monday could be seen walking in and out of mobile sleeping units on the site, end quote. The presence of these out-of-state troops comes as a judge declined to immediately respond to a lawsuit filed by the state of Illinois, which we covered on this program yesterday. That lawsuit said the Trump administration's efforts to send in the National Guard against the wishes of the state's governor are illegal and unconstitutional. The judge in this case, U.S. District Judge April Perry, said she needed time to go through the government's response to the suit and scheduled a hearing for Thursday, giving Trump and his allies a small window of time to send troops into the Windy City, an opportunity they are seizing upon. But as Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said to our colleague Rachel Maddow last night, taking this step could be risky before the judge officially rules. Watch.
Well, the judge did warn the federal lawyers that if, in fact, they brought those National Guard and put them on the streets, that would be a really bad idea because there may be a ruling against them in just a couple of.
It would be contempt of court. That's what it'd be. Say what it is. It would be contempt of court. If you go against a judge ruling, you are in contempt. Period.
Days. And I might add that if they do deploy them to the streets and then they are ruled against, I mean, how embarrassing to have to turn tail and run back to Texas 2 days after you've arrived in Chicago.
Chicago being in this state of limbo for a few days stands in contrast to what has happened this week in Portland, where a judge did temporarily block the administration from sending in National Guard troops from other states. The Illinois Attorney General argues in the lawsuit filed.
They shouldn't block it. They should not block it. They should just say you can't do that because it's illegal. So if you take Texas National Guard out of Texas, Texas don't have a National Guard. That's it. They're all the way in Chicago when they belong in Texas. You're not supposed to take New Jersey's National Guard and send it anywhere else because it's New Jersey's National Guard. But this is what he's doing. He'll federalize National Guard from another state and send them to the state that he wants them to be at because that governor refused to deploy and send troops into the city. They don't want to do that because you have wherever state you're in, say it's Illinois, you got the IBI, the Illinois Bureau of Investigation, and you have the state police, you have the local police. You have all kinds of levels of law enforcement in these states to be sending troops in to do police work when they don't even know penal codes or they don't even know case law. So they're not even law enforcement, but he's sending them in as law enforcement.
Filed yesterday, quote, the American people, regardless of where they reside, should not live under the threat of occupation by the U.S. military, particularly not simply because their city or state leadership has fallen out of a president's favor. That is where we begin the hour. Some of our favorite reporters and friends. MSNBC senior national and political correspondent Jacob Sobroff is on the ground outside Chicago. Also joining us, staff writer at The Atlantic and a contributor to The Atlantic Daily Newsletter, Tom Nichols is here. He's a professor emeritus of national security affairs at the U.S. Naval War College, where he taught for more than 2 decades, plus host of the Bulwark podcast. MSNBC political analyst Tim Miller is here. Jacob, I start with you. Just bring me up to date since we talked exactly 24 hours ago of what you're seeing and reporting on the ground in Chicago.
Well, as you said, Nicole, you know, the big development of the day is that the National Guard from Texas is now here. But I think that the point that I believe everyone needs to understand and that is crucially important for us to make is the reason they're here is because the President of the United States and his allies are calling this city and Cook County and the surrounding areas essentially lawless. The situation is out of control. It requires the National Guard to put down and protect not only the federal agents here, but widespread violence across this city. That is not what I have seen in this city at all. And in fact, if they are indeed going after the worst of the worst, we, MSNBC, witnessed the exact opposite today. And I want to tell you one specific anecdotal story that we saw here in Cicero. This is the most Hispanic community in all of Illinois. 89%, almost 90% of the people who live here are Latino or Hispanic out of the 90,000 people that live here. And we showed up at this bakery literally 20 minutes today after they went after and they arrested two people. And I want to make sure I give you their names. And let's take a picture. Let's take a picture of them right now so I can show you who they are. Mario Martinez and Daniel Cabrera. This is a video of Border Patrol. There they are. Mario Martinez is on the right. Daniel Cabrera is on the left. The Border Patrol showed up here outside of this bakery. They have been patrolling this neighborhood all day, and they grabbed these guys. We can show that video again.
What's crazy about it is these people are willing to do this to their own people. If you look at some of these Border Patrol agents and some of these ICE agents, these dudes are immigrants themselves. You'll see Asians, you'll see Latinos, you'll see Hispanics, you'll see Europeans from other nations. They're immigrants themselves, and they're snatching up immigrants. They're willing to do this to their own damn people. And they're snatching people up, not criminals. Donald Trump said he's going to get criminals out the country, but he's snatching up people coming home from work, coming home from church, at the dentist, shopping in the shopping center. He's snatching any and everybody up. And I'm just telling our people, we need to halt. I mean, the delineation is one thing. Delineation is one thing. But we shouldn't be so goddamn celebratory of this shit, because all we have to do is look around. There's tanks, there's men with long guns and army fatigues in our cities. And if they'll do that to them, they'll damn sure do it to us. I don't know why some of our people think this cracker has changed from the way he feel about us, because he's not focused on us and he's snatching up damn immigrants now. Just all you have to do is live. He's going to get to us if, you know, the creator don't take him out of here. If he don't eat 1 quarter pounder too many and it kills his ass because he's unhealthy. I mean, because he's probably about an order of fries away from the damn heart attack.
We've got some surveillance video from inside that they were doing nothing other than grabbing their cup of coffee before their day of work. And they are two of multiple people who have been taken in this neighborhood today alone, not because they are the worst of the worst. I also met people, here's some surveillance video, as they chased these guys. They left their cups of coffee, as you see there, sitting down on the trash can outside of the store after Border Patrol. And it looks like they've got someone following them, actually filming there, Nicole, chase them inside this bakery. While we were here reporting on the scene, a cousin of one of the two men, Daniel, showed up to ask me, do I know where to find him? I want to show you a little bit of our conversation right now. Watch this.
They actually got a film crew going around following them. I mean, I guess this is called ICE. It's not called cops anymore. It's called ICE.
Randomly showed up. He didn't do anything wrong. They just took him forcefully. They're scaring everybody around now. So I feel like a target too, even though I'm a U.S. citizen. But
you feel like they would even arrest you?
Yeah, at this point I do.
Does your cousin have a family?
They don't care who they arrest. If they see a brother and his hair is too goddamn straight, they'll probably snatch him up. So stop wearing them perms if you're wearing those perms, because they may snatch your ass up if your hair too straight.
Yeah, he does. His mom, dad, everybody here, his kids.
He's got kids too.
Yeah.
And so now, what country is he from?
He's originally from Mexico, but he was making a life here for his family, and as you can, like I told you, he was about to open up a shop.
I'm really sorry again that you're going through this, and I appreciate it. And I know that you're looking for him. You still don't know where he is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find any clues, ideas, see where they took him, why they took him, and what's the whole purpose for this.
That's a question, Nicole, that people all across Chicago, but especially today in this neighborhood.
It's all about fear, and it's all about tyranny. It's all about being a authoritarian. That's what he wants to be. He wants to be this hard dude because, you know, he was a coward all his life. Nobody ever paid attention to him. Even if he's a billionaire, he's still a goddamn bum as a billionaire. So he's doing all this.
Neighborhood asking, where are their loved ones, where are their family members who have been picked up off the street, not because they're the worst of the worst, but because they were going about their daily activities. Mario Martinez has been in the hospital for the last several months. He had a heart condition, was sick as well. He doesn't have his medication, and his wife was telling us, just like Nori Ramos, who we've introduced to people from on your show as well.
Going to switch gears and go to the Israel Hamas agreement. See what they're talking about. An agreement I wouldn't trust.
Intense negotiations in Egypt, Israel, and
This is something that I wouldn't trust because of the behavior and the track record of Benjamin Netanyahu. I wouldn't trust this agreement. Not saying that I wouldn't make the agreement, but I don't think they should trust the agreement, because if he can lie about how the conflict started and why he's doing what he's doing, he don't prove himself trustworthy. I wouldn't trust Benjamin Netanyahu. I wouldn't.
Hamas both at the table talking over President Trump's 20-point peace plan to end 2 years of war in the Gaza Strip. Joining us now is Colonel Steve Warren. He is the former Principal Deputy Chief of Public Affairs at the Pentagon. Colonel, thanks for joining us on this. Appreciate it. Talk about the unprecedented nature of striking phase one of this peace deal, what it could feasibly mean for the region, both the future of the safety and security of Israelis and Palestinians.
Yeah, it's thanks, Yasmin. It's got far-reaching implications. If indeed this deal can hold, it'll bring in an era of peace that we haven't seen now in the Middle East for several years, ever since that terrible attack on October 7th. So what this really means is that if the hostages can be returned to Israel, the prisoners can be returned to Gaza, and then finally the Israeli force.
You see the bias? You see the biases. They're holding prisoners, but the Palestinians has hostages when they're both at war with each other. So why are the people that's being held by Israel, why aren't they hostages? They're prisoners, but they're saying, who's to say that these people wasn't under arrest who Palestine is holding? That's crazy. It's straight biases.
Forces are able to withdraw to a pre-established line, we will finally begin to see the first steps of Middle East peace.
We've seen two ceasefires before this. One was 50 days after the initial attack on October 7th. The second was back in January of this year, both of which did obviously not reach finality, and war then ensued once again. What do you think is different possibly about this time?
Well, the first thing that's different is, frankly, the way it's being talked about. This isn't really a ceasefire. They, whether it's the president, the Qataris, the Israelis are talking about this as a deal, a peace deal. So I think that's number one. It has a different feel to it overall. We do have to keep in mind that, in the first two times, sometimes there's difficulty. We know Hamas leadership and Hamas fighters aren't necessarily joined. They're not talking to each other well. Often the Hamas fighters are operating without guidance from any of their leadership and sort of going rogue. I believe this will be reduced this time around simply because, frankly, there are fewer Hamas leaders and fewer Hamas fighters.
What do you think about the stability of this thing? We know this is an incredibly precarious situation. Some of the Hamas negotiators that were at the table in Egypt were reportedly also the ones that were targeted in Qatar when Israel dropped bombs there. So when you think about how precarious the situation is, this just lends itself to that.
Yasmin, there are rivers of bad blood between these two sides. So it is precarious. It will remain precarious. That said, the populations of both sides, the Israeli citizens, the Palestinians in Gaza, appear to be growing weary of war. And so that puts a lot of pressure on the leaders of both sides to come to an agreement.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
We're going to continue with the so-called peace talks with Israel and Hamas. See, the trick with Israel, that the term
Now to
Israel
those
and Hamas, they don't want to separate. They don't want to call them Palestinians. They just want to call them as a so-called terrorist group. They want to label them as a terrorist group and call them Hamas, but they are killing men, women, and children and putting them under that guise of Hamas so it could be a justification for genocide and crimes against humanity. So they're calling everybody Hamas. They're not saying Palestine, they're saying Hamas.
Major developments in the Middle East over the past few hours. After more than 2 years of war, President Trump has confirmed that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of his peace plan. This means that all of the remaining hostages that are being held in Gaza will be released, hopefully in the coming days, and Israeli troops will withdraw to an agreed position. The details of when that will happen and where exactly the line will be have not yet been released. This is the scene live in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, where families of those seized in the Hamas attack that sparked the war 2 years ago have gathered to demand the return of their loved ones. And we've been seeing scenes of celebration there over the past few hours. It appears to be getting closer to the point where we will see the release of their loved ones. And these are live pictures from the Israel-Gaza border. More than 2 million people have been displaced by Israeli bombing in Gaza over the past 24 months, and more than 6,000 to 7,000 have been killed. We'll have the latest from our correspondents in the Middle East shortly. But first, our North America correspondent, David Willis, reports on the developments of the last few hours.
Jubilation in the Middle East, the hope of peace for Israelis and Palestinians, prompting an outpouring of celebration from both sides in the conflict. The ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hamas is only the first phase of a Middle East peace plan. Making it stick will be a major victory for all the parties involved. The US was crucial to the deal, with Egyptian, Qatari, and Turkish mediators playing a vital role in talks with Hamas. Having vowed on the campaign trail to bring a quick end to the bloodshed in Gaza, President Trump found negotiations tougher than he expected. But he leveraged the United States' close ties with Israel to pressure the country's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to sign on to his 20-point peace plan. Concessions.
Benjamin Netanyahu may sign the plan, but Benjamin Netanyahu don't give a damn about what Trump's talking about. He's going to do what he wants to do. He'll sign that plan, and as soon as they get those hostages back, he'll send a barrage of bombs to just kill anybody indiscriminately. He don't care about what Trump's talking about. Just watch what happens when they get those hostages back. He don't care about killing those people over there. Watch what happens when he get what he want. Watch what happens. Not gonna be
by Hamas appear to have made the ceasefire agreement possible. President Trump said both sides had taken what he called the first steps towards a strong, durable, and everlasting peace in the region, and hailed this as a great day for the Arab and Muslim world. Benjamin Netanyahu called the deal a diplomatic success and a national and moral victory for the state of Israel. Whilst a statement from Hamas paid tribute to the efforts of President Trump and called on the US and other nations to ensure Israel complies with the terms of the agreement. Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas only began on Monday, and events are now moving extremely quickly. Later today, Benjamin Netanyahu is due to convene his cabinet to sign off on the agreement. Once that's happened, a ceasefire will come into place in Gaza. And immediately thereafter, the BBC understands that 400 aid trucks will start to enter the enclave. Israel will then withdraw its troops to an agreed-upon line, although where that line will be is currently unclear. whereupon Hamas will return the nearly 50 Israelis it's been holding hostage, and Israel will release, it's understood, around 250 Palestinian prisoners. And
Yeah, the Palestinians are prisoners, but the Israeli are hostages. That's just straight bias to me. Palestinians are prisoners, Israelis are hostages.
and 1,700 Gazans detained by Israeli forces since the war began. President Trump is planning to visit the Middle East at the weekend, and if all goes to plan, the hospital.
Now, only an evil person can do this. Give people 24 hours to leave their home because you're sending bombs. And this is the results of what was being done over there. This is evil, pure evil.
Hostages are expected to be released on Monday, but tough negotiations lie ahead, with many obstacles remaining in the path to a long-lasting peace. David Willis, BBC News.
Well, let's now speak to Rushdie Abwalouf. He's the
There
BBC.
will never be a long-lasting peace over there in that region. That would never happen. Especially when you have people who don't keep their words, people who lie, people who manipulate, people who are greedy, warmongering thieves. As long as we have that over there in any region in the world, in particular, that region, you'll never have long-lasting peace. There was never peace there in the first place. So for them to say long-lasting peace, I beg to differ.
BBC's Gaza correspondent and currently based in Istanbul. Thank you for joining us on the program, Rushdie. First of all, what are you hearing from people in Gaza? How hopeful are they that this latest agreement will actually end the war?
Well, the entire population seems to be in a mood of celebration now in Gaza, despite the Israeli continuous bombing over some certain areas, especially in Gaza City. Despite the displacement and the hardship that the people are living, they went into the street at the early hour of the morning to celebrate and dance. We have seen happy videos from Gaza for the first time for a very long time. As you know, the people have been
Move on from Rushdie and watch the world react to the so-called peace agreement. See how the world over in that region react to it.
We begin with breaking news out of the Middle East, where after more than 2 years of war, Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a peace plan.
But did this dude inhale some helium before he started doing this broadcast?
That should see the release of all remaining hostages in Gaza in exchange for Palestinian prisoners and the withdrawal of Israeli forces to, quote, agreed upon lines. We've got team coverage for you on this morning. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is tracking reaction from the White House. You see it on the left. But let's begin with CBS News reporter Haley Ott in Tel Aviv. Haley, good morning. This is major news. An agreement is in place. What's the reaction there and what happens now?
Good morning. So, as you said, a deal to halt the fighting in Gaza and exchange all the remaining hostages for over 1,000 Palestinian prisoners has been agreed. There are 48 remaining hostages, around 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. Now, this is the first phase of that 20-point peace plan that the White House put out alongside
The IDF, under Benjamin Netanyahu's leadership, kidnapped some people and held them hostage. Those are hostages also. Over 1,000 people, those are not prisoners, unless you want to put the word, political in front of those prisoners. Those are political prisoners. They're prisoners, but they refuse to call them political prisoners, which is what they are. I guarantee you over 1,000 people did not commit crimes over there. They snatched some people up and are holding them hostage because It's probably some hostages over there in Palestine. They're both holding hostages. You can't say one side are prisoners and the other ones are hostages. I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
Israeli
They're at war
Prime Minister
anyway.
Benjamin Netanyahu about 10 days ago. And there are still some more difficult elements of that proposal to be hammered out, like how Hamas will disarm, whether it will agree to step back from Palestinian politics, and who will govern Gaza. But all that will come later. Netanyahu is meeting with his cabinet.
Yeah, Donald Trump wants the Gaza Strip. He want to turn it into some type of resort area, a war zone where there never was peace there. They want to turn that into a resort area.
And the government later today. After that government meeting, a 24-hour clock will begin for Israel to retreat to an agreed line still within Gaza. Then a 72-hour period will begin for Hamas, during which it will be required to release all the hostages.
And Haley, you've been reporting from Hostage Square throughout the week.
Again, I wouldn't trust Bibi Netanyahu as far as I can see him or say his name. I wouldn't trust him. He didn't prove himself trustworthy.
Where the mood has been tempered, what's the difference today?
The mood is completely different today. Hopefully you'll be able to see behind me that the square is completely full. This is a symbolic place where people have gathered throughout the war to be with one another when hostages have been freed in other partial deals, to support one another and the hostage families. And now people are gathering here because, as you'd expect, this is an enormous day. For pretty much the last 2 years, the families of the hostages and many Israelis have been turning out on the street, protesting, demanding that their government agree to some sort of deal to bring all the hostages home and end the war in Gaza. And now it seems like that could be happening. There's still a ways to go in terms of the next phase of the White House proposal, but people are hopeful that the horrible chapter that's taken place over the last 2 years may be coming to a close. And we are here in Tel Aviv, but the feeling in Gaza today, our colleagues, their report is similar. It's one of relief and hope that this war might end. Over 67,000 people have been killed there in this war, according to local health officials. And the humanitarian situation has been catastrophic.
Yeah.
That's genocide. That's crimes against humanity. It's evident because if Benjamin Netanyahu has an international warrant for his arrest, he has to divert his flights to different areas when he comes to the United States. That means the world see it how I see it. Crimes against humanity. 67,000 people, men, women, and children, mostly civilians, and they make the excuse that they're being harbored or they're under tunnels in restaurants, in schools, in churches, in mosques, and whatever places they're bombing. The excuse that Benjamin Netanyahu would use is that they are harboring the people, hiding the people out in these places, when he just bombed places and killed people indiscriminately.
And we saw one gentleman behind you kind of raising his arms in the air. An increased sense of hope, certainly. Haley, thank you very much. CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand joins us from the White House with more on this. Natalie, good morning. This is clearly a major win for President Trump, despite the big hurdles ahead. What are we hearing from the White House?
All Trump wants to do is he wants to have this self-aggrandizing moment. He's saying he wants to take credit for bringing peace to the Gaza Strip between the Palestinians and the Israelis. But look what he's doing in the nation he's governing. He's declaring war on the people in his nation while trying to establish peace somewhere else. That makes no sense to me. When he's sending troops into the cities where he's president, but he's trying to establish peace in Israel. If you want to win the Nobel Peace Prize, you got to establish peace altogether, not just where there's a war. You're declaring war in your damn country and establishing peace somewhere else. That man is 4 beers and a half short of a 6-pack.
Good morning, Errol. The president calling this historic and unprecedented and thanking and crediting the negotiators and the mediators who helped make this possible, including those from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with the U.S. during these peace talks this week in Egypt. Of course, the president's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law and Mideast advisor during the first term, Jared Kushner, were there in person all week long. We heard the president say that they were getting close. Then yesterday, we had this moment here at the White House when during a roundtable, Secretary of State Marco Rubio interrupted, walked over to the president, passed him a note, and the Associated Press photographer there kind of zoomed into the writing, which appeared to say that they were close and they needed him to approve a Truth Social post so the president could announce the deal first. Then later in the evening, we got that Truth Social post from the president saying that he was proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have signed off on phase 1 of this peace plan. He spoke about it to Fox News last night. Take a listen.
Gaza, we believe, is going to be a much safer place. It's going to be a place that reconstructs, and other countries in the area will help it reconstruct because they have tremendous amounts of wealth, and they want to see that happen, and we'll be involved.
Yeah, they have tremendous amounts of wealth, the taxpayers' dollars of the United States. I'm sure they have enough money to rebuild because we give them hundreds of billions annually.
In helping them make it successful.
And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's put out a statement saying he by phone last night and also invited him to address Israel's parliament, the Knesset. The president has floated going to the Middle East as early as later this weekend. There's also a letter that was sent from the families of hostages to the White House inviting the president to meet with them as well.
Crazy. Now we're going to go to some more news about the Posse Comitatus and the lawlessness of.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Letitia.
Again, this is Posse Comitatus versus Tyranny. Now we're going to get into some of the tyranny part because Letitia James, the Attorney General in New York, this is how lawless this man is. She was just indicted on just some vindictive nonsense that he knows, just like Khamenei, he knows it's not going to go nowhere. It's going to be short-lived. It's going to die. It's not going to get past an indictment before it's dropped. But he just want to inconvenience people and have them consumed with foolishness and some damn anxiety. That's what he wants to do. Now, Letitia James has been indicted because she dared to try and convict him in New York. Now, this retaliation is unlawful also. But he have people that he appoint that will toe his line. All this is. Letitia James tried and convicted him for the crimes that he did. And now he's retaliating against her.
New York Attorney General Letitia James has been indicted. Andrew Weissman, your reaction?
I think that I want to sort of address the people who might look at this and say this is sort of tit for tat, that you see that in the Democratic administration, you see them going after Republicans, and this is Republicans going after Democrats. This is where one, even if two wrongs don't make a right, even if that were true, but this is where facts matter.
This is why I don't like politicians and I don't like politics, the mudslinging and the politics. The politics is why I don't like politics.
In the Letitia James case that she brought in New York, there was a trial. Facts were adduced. We all could look at those facts, and Donald Trump had a chance, an opportunity to have due process and to hear all of that. Here, the process by which this has been undertaken, like the process that was undertaken with respect to James Comey, tells you that career people and even Trump-appointed people did not think that there was evidence. There were not facts that justified this. And I think a perfect symbol of the fact that this is different, that what we're seeing is different. It is not normal. It is not everyone does it, is to take a look at Abby Lowell. Abby Lowell is the defense lawyer for Letitia James. He was also the defense lawyer for Hunter Biden. In the Biden administration, the Department of Justice actually charged and convicted the sitting president's son. And Abby Lowell represented him and defended him and lost that trial.
Yeah.
And he is now defending Letitia James. And to me, when people say it's tit for tat, it's like, no, in prior administrations, and by the way, Republican and Democratic administrations.
It is tit for tat in its politics. You can't trust a politician. Hunter Biden was tried and convicted. Now, and his father said he wouldn't pardon him. But before he left that office, he's pardoning his own son after he was convicted of a crime. And he preemptive pardoned some people. I forgot their names. I know Anthony Fauci was one of them, for their transgression against the people. That means he pardoned them before they was charged. It's too much power and too much wickedness at the disposal of politicians. They can do things that's totally against the law and makes no sense. How could you preemptively pardon someone before they're even charged? Because you know they may be charged with a crime that they committed, you preemptively pardon them. This whole nation is lawless and can't be trusted. Can't trust them.
Under normal times, which I agree with Mark, are gone. Under normal times in those administrations, there is no politics that is supposed to be considered. I'm not saying it's never considered and there aren't those aberrations.
No,
that's not how you're built.
Right. Andrew, let me bring Carol Leonnig back in. Carol Leonnig broke the news today exclusively that a grand jury was hearing evidence against Tish James. We have now heard the news that New York
This lady jaw broken. Damn, she talked like her jaw's broken.
Attorney General Letitia James has been indicted. Carol Leonnig.
Yeah, a few minutes ago, we confirmed that she was indicted by a grand jury in Alexandria of at least one count of bank fraud, Nicole, and the return was rather speedy. 4 o'clock was when the grand jury was supposed to come back out and present their information to Halligan. There was a
It's crazy how the president of the United States can tell the United States Attorney General who they can indict and tell them who to indict, and they will just indict. That's crazy.
person in the courtroom along with Halligan, and they released their decision. I will tell you, there's one other really interesting element to this that I'm hearing from sources, which is that this grand jury made its decision and listened to the presentation on its very first day in the box. In other words, grand juries sit sometimes for weeks and weeks. This grand jury was impaneled today, and this was their first case and their first decision.
Carol, any reaction from any of the resigned?
I'll move on to James Comey. He was indicted also at the request of Donald Trump. Also, just lawless.
Joining us now, MSNBC legal correspondent and host of Can They Do That on YouTube, Lisa Rubin, and former Deputy Assistant Attorney General Tom Dupree. All right, so Lisa, you were inside the courtroom today. Describe what you saw.
Katie, it was an absolutely surreal and bizarre experience to see someone who has been sort of a firmament of the federal law enforcement establishment, Jim Comey, have to stand up and enter a plea today of not guilty. Also tell the judge, Judge Michael Nachmanoff of the Eastern District of Virginia, that he understood his constitutional rights and the statutory rights that the judge read to him before thanking the judge very much. And then Jim Comey appeared to linger a little bit at the podium, almost as if for a moment he forgot what he was really doing there in that courtroom today. Because Jim Comey, as you know, before he was the FBI director, had been a very long-serving member of the Department of Justice. In fact, he had been the Assistant United States Attorney in charge of the Richmond office of the same district that is now prosecuting him.
This is what happens when the president is so tyrannical that he runs all the agencies. He can do things like this. He can move things around like this. The president should be running the country. He shouldn't be running federal agencies. None of them. He has enough to do to be consumed with running agencies and just using these agencies to empower himself to be vindictive towards his political opponents or anybody that oppose him, that won't do what he tell them to do, that he know is unlawful. That power should be taken away. As a matter of fact, it's not really in his power. He just have people that he put in position to toe the line. And those constituents, those officers, he shouldn't be able to fire those people. He shouldn't be able to fire federal agencies, FBI agencies. He should not be able to fire them. He should not be able to decide who is the top brass in the military. Whatever branch it is, that should not be at his discretion. Why? Because he didn't come up through the rank and file. Donald Trump was never a soldier. He shouldn't have to, a man or a woman, make her or his career as a soldier and move up the rank and file to have Donald Trump come and demote them and fire them. That's crazy. Or any other president come to and fire them and demote them, or push them out of their position, play them out of position. No president should be able to do that, especially a president who never was in the military. I don't even think a president, you shouldn't even be president if you didn't serve, because you shouldn't be saluted. No soldier should salute someone who was never a soldier. No soldier should do that. He didn't come up through the rank and file. And when he walk off Air Force One, they should not have to salute him. Why? Because he's not one of them. He's not a general. He's not a sergeant. He hasn't been as much as a damn private in basic training. So why should they salute him?
The Eastern District of Virginia. One thing that I think is really interesting about what happened in court today is just how asymmetric the two sides seem to see this case. From Pat Fitzgerald, who is Jim Comey's defense attorney's perspective, this is a really simple case. It can go to trial relatively quickly after we have some pretrial motions. The judge appeared to agree, but the government's description of it was that this is a case with voluminous discovery and a large amount of discovery of a classified nature. That appeared to baffle Judge Nachmanoff and have Pat Fitzgerald sort of scratching his head as well. And the judge making it very clear that in the so-called rocket docket, his courtroom was not going to be an exception, and that the presence of classified information in this case would not be an excuse for slowing it down. Whether that
I want to take a quick a quick promotional break. First, I'm going to go here. If you haven't, get your copy of Fire Book 1.
Get your copy of Fire.
Go to
It's
Amazon, get
definitely
your
a
copy of Fire.
must-read. If you enjoy hood books, this one is it. Just like the title of the book, it's officially Fire. Get it on Amazon, paperback or Kindle.
And also, Fire Book 2 is available. Go to Amazon, Angela King James, Fire 2, the finale, is also available. Get your copy. It's a good read. Get your copy.
I don't know how I got here. I just know I'm never going back. Just when I thought things were already crazy, it gets worse.
I'm back.
Quan?
Sapphire struggles to deal with her husband's alleged betrayal and coming to terms with Quan being alive after thinking he was deceased. Devante tries to keep a level head while dealing with family issues and unexpected disloyalty. Memories of Dre enters Devante's life in a way that he would have never imagined.
Fire Part 2, the finale.
Moving on to the Chicago mayor speaking about the National Guard in Chicago.
All right, well, good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank our corporate counsel, Mary Richardson Laurie, and the Department of Law, who are putting forward a very strong case in close partnership with the Attorney General and, of course, the Governor's office. We said that this deployment had nothing to do with public safety. We said that this has nothing to do with immigration. This is purely political. And now the federal government is arguing the same thing. They claim this is not about crime, while at the same time, the president says this is only about crime. They cannot get their story straight. They can't get their story straight because the truth is they are being sent here to occupy our city. 1 month that they've been here, the federal immigration agents have shot and killed an unarmed father in Franklin Park and then lied about the circumstances of his death. They zip-tied small children and elderly women in the middle of the night in the South Shore community on the south side of Chicago. They shot a woman 5 times. They tear gas.
I'm not understanding, if you are the mayor of a city and you are charged with protecting the people of that city and you have police officers there. ICE agents should be going to jail. They should be arrested. Even if it has to be a damn showdown in the city. Nobody should be running around doing what they're doing. Provoking people, being an occupying force in the damn city when they have police there. The police are already a problem, but to have more people there causing those type of problems is a damn shame.
As protesters, reporters, and Chicago police officers. They shot a minister in the face with pepper balls. They caused a car accident and put a resident in a chokehold in East Garfield Park. Deployed chemical agents on a busy residential street near an elementary school and grocery store, forcing parents to run for cover with their 2-year-old child. They marched through downtown
They should be arrested.
displaying high-grade automatic weapons while arresting families because of how they look. They arrested a city council member for asking to see a warrant. Now they are calling for backup. The good news is that because our court challenge, and because the government has restricted the orders for their deployment significantly. But that's what I mean when we say the courts are still a check. Maybe our only check. Maybe our only check on this out-of-control administration. Again, the government has restricted its orders for their deployment, and they've done it significantly. I'm here because we are part of this lawsuit. I'm charged with keeping our city safe, and I wanted to show my respect for the process by coming in person today.
I'm going to land this right here. I want to thank everybody for coming through, hanging out with your brother Nasir, the Wingy Skates, JJ the Enlightening One, P. Moses, Big Dog Philly OG, OTK, A-Not 424, Goddess D of Love, the True Daughter of Darkness, Demi. I want to thank you all. King Morpheus. I want to thank you all for coming through and hanging out with the brother. I want to thank my wife, executive producer of The Enemy's Public. Hold me down. I appreciate you all for watching. I want to leave with justice or else before the world implodes, because that's where we're headed.
Blue lights flash, feel a chill in the air. Supposed to protect us, but we live in fear. My people suffer, hands cuffed on the ground. Cringe at the sight of a badge in my town. They take the power, twist it to a threat. Violate our rights, a dangerous bet. Our tax dollars paying for this tyranny's reign. Another family crying, getting loud in pain. Red and blue lights paint the city streets. Another siren wails to a broken beat. Politicians silent, the voting's a lie. Justice or else beneath the burning sky. Justice or else before the world implodes. We're walking down a dark and heavy road. New Brunswick, Jersey, where memories bleed. They planted a violin in a bitter seed. We scream Sean Potts, we scream Carolyn's name. Buried Deloach, a part of they sick game. Remember Bialo Grant and Deborah Terrell fell. Another elder story they refuse to tell. We march and we plead, but the gears never turn. Another hard lesson the powerful won't learn. They tell us be peaceful, they tell us to wait, while they're building a system fueled by hate. You push us this far, you corner the beast. The promise of peace has officially ceased. If we have to stop it, it won't be in peace. It'll be the fire that demands release. Red and blue lights paint the city streets. Another siren wails to a broken beat. Politicians silent, the voting's a lie. Justice or else beneath the burning sky. Justice or else before the world implodes. We're walking down a dark and heavy road.
For Sean, for Sissy, for Barry, for Diallo, for Deborah.
Justice or else.
The jump out
Justice
boys
or
better
else.
stay in the white community. Don't come where we live and jump out, because you may never get back in.
Thank you all for tapping in with your brother this evening.
What's going on? This Kiera Kid Johnson, and this is the big step.
Appreciate you all tapping in this evening. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Brother Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button on your way out. Share the stream and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace.
Yeah. The enemy's public. They relate to a damn